There's the car. Strike, strike, strike. Oh, please! Get your got his hands! Got his hands!
Get him! Get him!
Yep. Anthony Russell, you're under arrest for the murder of 3 people.
This is shocking footage of the arrest of triple murderer Anthony Russell. Please watch the whole video to find out what he did. And if you enjoy true crime content, please be sure to like, comment and subscribe. Anthony Russell, aged 39, killed 3 times in just 7 days in October 2020, and the manhunt that led to his arrest was one of the largest in the UK in recent years. It began on the 23rd of October 2020 when Julie Williams, aged 58, phoned West Midlands Police to report that her son David Williams, aged 31, had not been seen since the 21st of October. On the 25th of October, police were called by her sister to say that Julie herself was now missing. Officers forced their way into her house and found her dead on the living room floor, having been violently attacked by Russell earlier in the day. Later that day, officers raided Russell's home in Riley Square, Coventry, after a tip-off that he had confessed to killing both Julie and David Williams. There, they found David's body hidden under a bed, and he had also suffered multiple injuries. Subsequently, a major manhunt was launched for Russell, who lived in the same road in Coventry as his first victims. Russell used public transport to travel to Kenilworth, where he immediately continued his violent spree by robbing a woman aged 71 of £200, dragging her across the floor. Again, using public transport, Russell arrived in Leamington Spa at approximately 2:45 p.m, where he struck up friendships with drug users. Sadly, 31-year-old Nicole McGregor, the third murder victim, was found in Woodland on Newbold Common in Leamington Spa a few days later. Nicole was 18 weeks pregnant when she was killed by Russell, only hours after he had arrived there. Russell was then seen leaving Leamington Spa, but before he left he preyed on a vulnerable victim, a 75-year-old man. After asking him for directions, Russell followed him into his home and attacked him before making off in his car. After a nationwide manhunt, Russell was finally found in Staffordshire in the early hours of the 30th of October 2020. He was sleeping in the car he'd stolen 2 days earlier. A major investigation established how Russell had killed David first and then his mother because she knew what had happened and he knew that she would tell the police. When questioned by officers in custody, he remained silent with a blanket over his head. Russell then went on to actually admit the 3 murders, and he was sentenced to a whole life order, which means he will never ever leave prison. I'll now proceed to show you the full video released by West Midlands Police. It shows Russell's arrest, which you saw at the start of the video, as well as CCTV footage from the lead-up of the crimes. It also shows interviews of the police officers that were involved in the case. Please be aware, viewer discretion is advised.
There's the car. Strike, strike, strike. Oh, please! Get your got his hands! Got his hands!
Get him! Get him!
Yep. Anthony Russell, you're under arrest for the murder of 3 people. You do not have to say anything but my army defence. You do not mention one question, something which you later rely on court as. You do say maybe given evidence.
This was an appalling series of violent attacks. Don't lose sight of, at the heart of this, there are 3 people who lost their lives, and another 3 people who were subject to violent robberies and again left for dead. Each of those in their own way were vulnerable people, either due to mental health, due to illness or due to age. So the chain of events we know now, it was the murder of David Williams. David was an associate, a friend of Russell. We don't know exactly why he killed him, but we think there was some kind of disagreement. David's mum, Julie, was obviously concerned for David. She hadn't seen him. She went to Russell and asked him if she'd seen David, knowing that he was dead. He was actually dead in his flat He said he hadn't seen him and actually helped Julie look for him. You know, again, another callous way. But then we know that he then killed Julie in an attempt to cover her tracks, and again a violent attack, leaving her dead in her house. From there we know that he knew there was a murder inquiry and fled from Coventry, went over to Leamington, and there tragically he befriended another person, a vulnerable female. She was pregnant, Nicole McGregor. He befriended her and killed her, left her body in a parkland. But again, another callous way. He spoke to her boyfriend who was looking for her and helped him look for her. So again, another callous way of covering his tracks, but used extreme violence. Russell was extremely dangerous, and obviously we need to arrest him as quickly as possible. This was a significant manhunt, indeed one of the biggest manhunts that West Midlands Police has run, and we work with colleagues from other forces around here, including Warwickshire and Staffordshire, who subsequently arrested him in their car. CCTV, both recovery of the CCTV and the painstaking watching of that CCTV was crucial to this case. Over 9,000 hours of CCTV was gathered. It took us over 6 months to piece that together, just to show exactly what Russell had been doing over those 7 days of violence. And that CCTV evidence, along with forensic evidence, witness evidence, that weight of evidence has led to these guilty pleas from Russell. Russell, extremely dangerous man, used extreme violence in all of the offences, showed no remorse. Indeed, when he was questioned by the police, he wouldn't be interviewed. He sat with a blanket over his head and wouldn't engage with the officers interviewing him.
My thoughts in this case are straight away that we don't know about the weirdos that we're rubbing our shoulders with day to day, and I think this once again proves it. This guy, to give him the benefit of the doubt, he looked like an everyday rough type of guy, but I don't think anyone would have really thought what he was really up to. Killing 3 people in 7 days is not just rough, it's sick, to be honest. And I'd just like to wish my condolences to the families of the victims, Nicole, David and Julie. What he did was absolutely abhorrent, and I sincerely hope we never ever see something like this ever again. In terms of Anthony Russell, it actually came out that he also raped Nicole while she was pregnant and stuff as well, so I hope this guy genuinely does rot in prison. I'd like to commend the police as well for giving him a whole life order, which means someone like this, someone of his craziness, can't actually ever leave prison, and surely that can only be a good thing. We don't really see a lot of whole life orders in the UK, but I think in this case it was totally justified. But yeah, that's the end of the video, guys. Thank you for all the likes and comments and the growth on the channel and the TikTok page. I genuinely appreciate it. And yeah, RIP to David, Nicole and Julie.